InTASC Standards by Cohort Group 2. Standard 1. Learning Development. The teacher understands how learners grow and develop, recognizing that patterns of learning and development vary individually within and across the cognitive, linguistic, social, emotional, and physical areas, and designs and implements developmentally appropriate and challenging learning experiences. The teacher regularly assesses individuals and group performance in order to design and modify instruction to meet learners' needs in each area of development: cognitive, linguistic, social, emotional, and physical, and SCALDF's next level of development. Why is this important? This is important because formative assessments clarify and increase learning. The assessments are not used for grades, but to improve instruction and learning. These assessments have been found to have the power to raise students' performance by almost a grade level and to double the rate of students' learning.
Standard 2. Student learning and learning differences. The teacher uses understanding of individual differences in diverse cultures and communities to ensure inclusive learning environments that enable each learner to meet high standards. The teacher makes appropriate and timely provisions, example, pacing for individual rates of growth, task demands, communication, assessment, and response modes for individual students with particular learning differences or needs. How can teachers determine individual rates of growth or determine strengths and weaknesses? At the beginning of the year, the educator can assign a diagnostic exam that contains information from the subject area that will be taught throughout the school year. This will give the educator an idea of where each student is at the beginning of the year. Another way an educator can determine the growth rates of their students is to assign pre-assessment tests. Throughout the school year, sometime before each exam, the educator can assign a brief assessment test that will allow the educator to see which areas the students are lacking or succeeding in.
The teacher works with others to create environments that support individual and collaborative learning, and that encourage positive social interactions, active engagement in learning, and self-motivation. The teacher develops learning experiences that engage learners in collaborative and self-directed learning and that extend learner interaction with ideas and people locally and globally. How can teachers encourage collaboration? Teachers use collaboration in the classroom when they assign group activities. This is a picture showing a teacher helping the kids in a group setting understand the material.
Standard 4. Content knowledge. The teacher understands the central concepts, tools of inquiry, and structures of the disciplines he or she teaches and creates learning experiences that make these aspects of the discipline accessible and meaningful to learners to assure mastery of the content. The teacher engages students in learning experiences in the discipline that encourages learners to understand, question, and analyze ideas from diverse perspectives so that they can master the content. Why is it important for students to question and analyze ideas from diverse perspectives? Diverse perspectives are crucial for a child's learning progress because they use different sources, encourage students to engage in other ideas rather than being closed-minded to their own thoughts. The students must think critically by analyzing their own and their peers' ideas to strengthen their understanding of the content.
Standard 5. Application of content. The teacher understands how to connect concepts and use differing perspectives to engage learners in critical thinking, creativity, and collaborative problem solving related to authentic, local, and global issues. The teacher engages learners in questioning and challenging assumptions and approaches in order to foster innovation and problem solving in local and global contexts. Why is it important to teach learners to question and challenge assumptions? It is vital for children to understand how to challenge assumptions about global issues to fully understand the concept. The educator must know how to connect different concepts together so their students can think critically and analyze the topic. Topics about global issues can keep students engaged in their own learning because they are real-world problems, and the importance of challenging assumptions can lead to the students improving their problem-solving skills.
Standard 6 Assessment. The teacher understands and uses multiple methods of assessment to engage learners in their own growth, to monitor learning progress, and to guide the teacher's and learners' decision-making. The teacher balances the use of formative and summative assessment as appropriate to support, verify, and document learning. Why is it important for teachers to employ a variety of assessments? It's important for teachers to employ a variety of assessments because it gives children the opportunity to show
what they know in different ways. Two different types of assessments are formative and summative. A formative assessment is where the teacher assesses the student's ongoing and uses its plan for future instructions. Sometimes a teacher will use a formative assessment in that day's lesson plan. Summative assessments is a form that shows what information the student understands. In doing this, the teacher can use one-on-one testing, small group work, large group work assessment, and individualized summit assessment. These pictures are important because it shows one-on-one assessment a teacher can use.
Standard 7, Planning for Instruction. The teacher plans instruction that supports every student in meeting rigorous learning goals by drawing upon knowledge of content areas, curriculum, cross-disciplinary skills, and pedagogy, as well as knowledge of learners and community context. The teacher plans for instruction based on formative and summative assessment data, prior learner knowledge, and learner interest. How can teachers use assessment data to help plan for instruction? In the classroom, teachers can use assessment data many different ways to help plan for instruction. The most prevalent way would be to use assessments as a gauge for taking out or including different learner topics. You cannot teach a child what they already know, so finding out prior learner knowledge by using tools like diagnostic tests would help teachers plan for which lessons they need to take more time on and which can be done in a quick manner. A teacher also needs to assess their class to find out how to keep learner interest among his or her students. A good way to assess students' interest would be through formative assessment during in-class assignments. The teacher could note what his or her students like and dislike. The teacher could also use summative assessment to see how far his or her students are progressing throughout each topic, and find out how they could change or keep the same the way they plan and execute their lessons.
Standard 8, Instructional Strategies. The teacher understands and uses a variety of instructional strategies to encourage learners to develop deep understanding of content areas and their connections, and to build skills to apply knowledge in meaningful ways. The teacher continuously monitors student learning, engages learning in assessing their progress, and adjusts instruction in response to student learning needs. How can teachers monitor student learning? To monitor student learning, you can do things such as exit tickets, reflections, and summarizing to go over the day's work. Monitoring student progress is shown in the literature of the student. American Heritage defines monitoring by keeping watch over, and that is where activities come in to summarize what they learned for that day.
Thank you. This was Cohort Group 2, and these were our InTASC standards.